welcome everyone to day number 20, Virginia Derby Day, our signature event of the 2021 season and our penultimate day of racing. Of course, closing day coming up tomorrow, Virginia Breeders' Day, but Virginia Derby Day, 11 races, first post at 1:45 p.m. The Oaks is the 9th, the Derby's the 10th. Jess, we've been building up to this all meet, and we're here.
We're here. This is the day. I am so excited. This is top to bottom and one of the best cards I've ever gotten to handicap professionally, really.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one, and we should probably dig right into it because I think we got a lot of things to talk about. We start out in the first race, which, by the way, there is an early pick 5, which is not a normal thing for us. So very excited about it.
I will have my tickets posted, so please don't make fun of me on the internet. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go out. I'll send them to the right people to yell at you. We start out, though, interesting enough, with a 4-5 morning line favorite, Kitten Tails for Arnaud Delacour, and possibly a big single for a lot of people in this early sequence.
Eating some chalk here, and I think this is who I may use as a single here. Out of a half-sister to champion Point Given, which is actually the thing I found the most interesting about this horse pedigree-wise. There's just so much stamina in this horse's pedigree.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Three runners in here coming out of the Belle Belisa race. We'll see Belle Belisa, of course, later on in the Virginia Oaks.
Her.
Yeah, none of the I don't want to say no great performers out of that race, but still, I mean, obviously a good maiden race.
Absolutely, and I think she might really legitimize that later in the card today.
Rhythm and Power was the one I thought maybe out of that race might be the most interesting. Just kind of was prominent throughout, and first time going long on turf, and I thought just ran kind of a credible race. I thought maybe a move forward possible. But your picks for the first?
The 7, 2, 4, and 8.
Oh, so you like the 2 as well?
I thought she gave such a nice impression in the paddock last time, and to me looks like one that just needs to continue to grow and develop and mature. I think she'll have a bright future.
The second race on the card, which starts the early pick 4. Now that is a constant at Colonials. That second race, early pick 4. Arabian Prince is in here, Jess. If I remember correctly, this was that horse that was a real short price that flipped and scratched in the paddock, correct?
He didn't flip. This is the interesting thing. He was from a standstill. He leapt up so high, he wound up clocking his head a little bit on the rafters. I mean, those rafters are high. Yeah. I cannot tell you how high this horse jumped. He, again, we don't body shame. All bodies are beautiful. He was a little heavy. Yeah. So I wonder if he needs one off the bench. He's a really good looking horse, but he is one that he looks like he may need to race himself fit. Mm-hmm. One horse I do want to talk about is number 2, Guillaume. Well, Guillaume comes into the paddock with some really interesting equipment. He comes up in an iron halter, which is a pretty uncommon piece of schooling equipment, which gives his handlers a little more control. The pressure that puts is right along their nose. So if they want to act a little bit goofy, they'll get kind of reprimanded for that real quick, and that usually will stop some bad behavior. He's been, from what I understand, a really difficult horse to deal with saddling, and they've schooled him in it a couple of times, and then he came up in it last time to race, and it made a huge difference. He was, for the most part, a total gentleman.
That sounds like a heavy metal band, ladies and gentlemen.
Iron Halter.
Iron Halter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Guillaume, I mean, you can certainly say that he enjoys Colonial Downs. His 2 best races by a mile, both here. We should give some talk to some other horses in here. Belle Tapisserie, of course, a long time, kind of Florida horse, made the way to the Mid-Atlantic and has just been solid as a rock, almost 400,000 earnings, and was a flashy winner at Pimlico. I remember the horse was here just a couple weeks ago and already went up to Pimlico and got another win.
Just like you, back and forth to Pimlico.
Hey, yeah. Well, I mean, and this horse certainly loves the Kieran McGee barn. I mean, it had a 4-race win streak with Kieran, and then he got the horse back and now has got her back. So, I mean, he might have him kind of going good again.
I'm sure he does. Yeah. I did use this horse in my exotics as well.
The picks for you in the second
2, 1, 8, and 3.
Okay. Yeah, I was Jamie Ness got the 9 in here. If you'd have told me he wouldn't have any wins at this meet, now he hasn't run very much, but over the first couple of years he'd been so good here. A little surprised, but maybe that changes because I think he's got a couple in.
I'm not sure this is going to be the one that does it for him.
No, but just saying he's around this week. The third race on the card, we are inner turf miling, and a field of 9 set to go in here. Jess, your picks for the third?
I mean, I'm deferring to the announcer. How are we saying the name of number 3?
Oh no, is that the one? I've already had nightmares about this horse saying this name fast. Like if this horse gets in a duel, especially with the 4, forget about it. I'm done.
I mean, announcer nightmares, as I've learned, are a thing.
I actually had one 2 nights ago. I was at Emerald, calling, but the booth was low and there was a group of people blocking the whole home stretch and they wouldn't move.
So to our viewers here, prior to calling the races at Sam Houston, I was having pretty reoccurring night terrors about race calling, which I just assumed was just me. Nope. So I reached out to Jason and I said, Jason, I'm having all these nightmares about race calling. And he said that that's a normal announcer thing.
Everybody has them.
So announcing night terrors, it's a thing.
My constant one is I'm in a turf club. They give me a program and a mic, but they give me a mic and a binoculars, but I have no program. I don't know the names.
And I kept dreaming that I was missing the races. Like that I'd look down at my program and then the races would be off. And I'd be like, oh no.
Well, according to John G. Dooley, who I think is a legend, it's Elqui du Jagaret. But looking up the Spanish pronunciation is Jagaret. So I think I might go with the soft J, the Jagaret. So Elqui du Jagaret.
I may just call him the 3 here.
Yeah, well, that might happen too.
But he's my top selection. I think just sort of an interesting horse coming from Arlington, right? Yeah. He's trying. She's trying to earn her 3rd straight victory. I like that she's been actually more forwardly placed this year. She seems to have shown an entirely different dimension this year. Mm-hmm. Top, no question, though.
Yeah, my man Rocco Bowen with 2 wins in a row, we should note Jose Ortiz in town gets the mount, and a lot of times we see this right with the big jocks when they come to a track maybe they're not familiar with. They like to ride 1 or 2 kind of early in the card just to get a sense of what's going on out there, right?
Sure. They should just talk to Horatio Caramano so he can give them the lay of the land of this.
I'm sure he'll give them all his secrets.
Yes.
Your picks for that 3rd race?
3, 8, 5, and 6.
4th race on the card. We're outer turf sprinting. I have a strong guess of where you're going in here.
Tell me if you're
the 11 ball.
Not even in my top 4.
That was such a bad trip that horse had, an amazing run by the hour. That LNJ horse.
Yeah,
I would have sworn that was yours because we even talked about it afterwards. You're like, man, that was a hell of a run.
And I liked her a lot. This field is just so good.
All right.
And I mean, she's
floored. I'm floored.
I'm trying to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
She's obviously one I wanted to use. I wonder if she has a little maturing to do as well. But I went with actually number 5. A little bit of a price here. Fortis on top.
I had Fortis highlighted. Yeah.
Loved this horse's race last time out, and this combination of Ham Smith and Horatio Caramano's has just been on fire. The thing I like most about some of Ham Smith's young runners is how well prepared they are. They come onto the track like professionals. Like they are just so well prepared for their 1st or 2nd start, I think. And this one has a lot of upside, kind of trying the turf for the first time here.
I'm curious how much First Kitten takes betting. That was a pretty solid effort last time out against maiden special weight runners at this level, at this distance, and draws the inside. So obviously go is going to be the mission, but there's some other speed right to the outside and cashable. We don't know about the Trombetta Firster. He's been doing all right with first time starters. There's speed from the 4 Liam's Nessie. I mean, there looks like a lot of gas. I actually like Fortis a lot. I don't mind. I like those kind of evenish efforts in debut because I just think it shows some ability, but also probably a big chance to move forward. And that was on the dirt too. So a different thing, but the horse took money. So, I mean, they clearly like the horse a little bit.
Another big price I really like here. And again, I'm just taking some swings in this race. I like Tappett's Ruby. Female family is insane on this horse. The Dam Rubywood is a half sister to Rubiano, which is just a tremendous female family. Has not shown much from 2 starts on the main track, but I bet this horse moves up on the grass.
Well, and they wanted to start the horse on the grass, right? First race was washed off. So clearly that's something they'd been thinking about with this one. But yeah, I mean, I looked through here and it's like John Ortiz has that horse that's run second 4 straight times. Blessing the Flag, I thought was an interesting long shot. Declan Cannon on board. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go in here, but I thought you were going by the hour. I missed that one.
I just like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Your picks for the 4th.
5, 2, 6, and 7.
Mile and a 3/16 on the outer turf course, race number 5. I love these, and a big, huge field of 12. This is just another in a long line of cool races on the Tuesday program.
This one, I think, took me longer to handicap than half the card in its entirety. I went with the 11 Tapwood coming out for Hall of Fame trainer Jack Fisher. And this horse was bred to be a world beater. He's a son of Grade 1 winner Better Lucky, this great Godolphin pedigree, kind of up and down. You know, he really hasn't lived up to that lofty pedigree. At a certain point, your parents only take you so far, but he's really rounded into form, and there's just so much class there. I have some real questions about whether or not we see this horse over fences at some point, which I'm dying to ask Mr. Fisher. I'm hoping he's in the paddock for this race so I can pick his brain.
Yeah. Well, pretty sharp Presque Isle shipper here, perfectly majestic. Again, another race where I could sit and make cases for a number of decent
Yeah.
price horses like that. And these are those kind of races where, I want to try to maybe narrow down to 2 or 3 that are all 10-1 or higher, just because I don't think there's that much difference between them and the horses that are going to be 7-2. I mean, Rohrbacher, who's 7-2 on the morning line, is coming in very sharp and good form and everything like that. But again, I just don't think that far ahead of some of these horses that are like perfectly majestic, who are going to be 15-1.
I used him right in second. I really like him. I mean, he's the kind of horse that makes me love horse racing, right? He's just a hard knocking old timer. 5 wins this year, which is really impressive for a 9-year-old. I just think horses like that are cool.
Yeah, I'd say so. Your picks for the 5th, Jess?
11, 7, 10, 13.
Race 6, we start the all turf, all stakes pick 5 that will commence in race 6 and end in the Virginia Derby. $150,000 thoroughbred aftercare alliance Old Nelson Stakes. Boy, we got some tongue twisters between the sponsors and the stakes names. This is going to be tricky at the gate. But we start out here with this field of 8. Bramble Queen, I remember 2-5 on Arlington Million Day in a little undercard stakes. It was the first horse in there, and is 8-1 on the morning line. So that tells you right there, this is a pretty good little race.
This is a very good little race. And I went with number 2, Tuned, coming up for Grand Motion. She just looked like a winner from the moment she walked into the paddock prior to her local debut. Really strong effort from her that day. And she's bred to be, any kind of horse. Her dam Zagora won the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf in 2012. She was the Eclipse champion that year. And while this filly hasn't turned out to be a grade 1 world beater, she's a quality graded stakes sort of filly. And I wonder if that's where we'll see her by the end of the year.
What do you make of the Correas shipper from Argentina? He has these type of horses. This is a Group 1 winner from down there. Gets Lasix, gets blinkers, and that last work at Keeneland to me jumped off the page a little bit.
Well, Chitara sort of has made a believer out of me this year. And you never know with these South American horses until they get that real medal test against North American company. But she was a Group 1 winner in Argentina, and no guarantee that form translates. But I think she's worth using for sure.
I thought kind of a neat story in this race too. Tightly Twisted comes in with 2 straight wins for Juanita Bennett. Small barn that has just a really nice horse right now, and they won $100,000 stake last time and going after $150 one, or $150 one, $150,000. We should mention Drapes also coming up from Gulfstream Park. This horse has won 3 out of 4, and the only loss was in that stretch was a really good effort as well.
Yeah, she's just so consistent and seems to really hit her best stride this year. I used her right in the mix of mine.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where this is probably not going to be a single race for a lot of people. I think some people might single in some of the 2-year-old races coming up after this, but I thought people were going to spread a little bit here. But your picks for the 6th race?
2, 6, 3, and 4.
I mentioned the 2-year-olds, and we start that here with the Kitten's Joy. Both 2-year-old races, a little bit smaller fields, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I guess, it makes a little bit of sense, right? A lot of them are still in the maiden ranks as 2-year-olds right now. But a lot of horses we've seen, been good maiden breakers. A few that have been maiden breakers in big style on dirt, now trying the turf, which to me I thought was kind of interesting.
This is my single in my sequence for sure, and that's number 5. Wow, What a Summer. I know he technically has not finished first on his own accord yet. He broke his maiden by disqualification, but take nothing away from how impressive he actually was that day. Physically, I think we've seen a lot of really nice looking horses this year and some very promising 2-year-olds. He is on par with any of them that we've seen physically. This horse looks like he's going to be a monster. And occasionally we get what we want in horse racing. I've been dying to see this horse go around 2 turns, so we get to see what he can do going long today. And I think he's just bred and built to excel with more distance.
I've long been a champion for the Ellis Park 2-year-old program. I think it just produces some pretty nice horses, and we have 3 coming over from Ellis Park in this race. Climbing Mountain is interesting for Kenny McPeak because the horse broke the maiden on dirt. They jumped up to an allowance on turf, didn't run well at all, and now obviously going a distance of ground, but gets Lasix here. And Kenny's actually got a couple in here. He had a 14-length winner. It was an off-the-turf race at Ellis, but still, I'm always leery of like those either off the turf or sloppy wins where they really, really get away from. Sometimes it seems to me it's as much the rest of the field just not showing up as that horse blowing their doors
especially
off.
With the baby horses. Some just don't do well at the kickback.
And it was 3-5 that day, so it was supposed to win, right? I mean,
supposed to in horse racing is a funny word.
Yeah. And then Gold Heritage was 27-1 on debut and won from off the pace, and comes over from Ellis Park. So Jess makes her stand there with Wow, What a Summer. What about the rest of your picks for that race?
5, 6, 4, and 1.
Eighth race is the Xacta Systems Rosie Stakes. This was the race we saw four-wheel drive debut and absolutely annihilate them back on 2019, and of course would go on to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. But a good little group of 7 assembled here. Tejano Twist was a nice winner we saw last time on dirt here locally. Wish Me Home was a good turf winner we saw here at Colonial Downs. So do you go with one of the ones who's been running locally or somebody coming in?
I went with a familiar face with number 7, Tejano Twist. The turf is going to be obviously a question mark for him, but plenty of turf influence in his pedigree. You can make a case that he should move up on the lawn. I like the outside post for him. I like his recent workout on the recent workout on the turf also. That was good enough.
Mm-hmm. It kind of looks like everybody else is speedy too. Like he looks.
Yeah, it should set up for him if he can kind of rate off like he has on the main track. That he should get an ideal setup here.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated to see, and we'll learn more on Monday because the rails are going to be out more than they have been. So I'm really curious to see how that. Obviously it'll affect the races in some way. It's up for us to determine how and whether it's beneficial to certain spots or not. But going to be curious to see how that plays out. Your picks for the 8th.
7, 4, 1, and 5.
The $150,000 Virginia Oaks, Woodford Reserve Virginia Oaks for 3-year-old fillies and a field of 12 drawn, Jess. And it's 11. Oh, 12. There we go. I was like, I knew they were both 12. I think both the Oaks and the Derby this year kind of loaded with horses who I think are kind of trying to make that jump up to graded stakes company as a regular thing. They've been succeeding in listed stakes. I know this race is not graded, but a lot of lightly raced types, a lot of up-and-comers types, which to me, horses that maybe are going to go on to bigger and better.
I am very excited about this race, and I am going with number 6, Belle Belisa, largely because I would just like to get the chance to interview Michael Dickinson again after she wins, because that was the funniest the funniest moment I've ever had with a microphone in my hand, to be honest. For those of you who didn't catch that, Mr. Dickinson, who I am and at the moment was just in awe of because he is Michael Dickinson, called his horse a hussy after the race, and
I hadn't heard that one either.
You missed it?
No. I hadn't heard a person call a horse that.
Yeah, it was I mean, and to be fair, like, it's entirely accurate. She was an absolute monster to saddle. She was opinionated, ill-behaved, difficult on the track, and Charlie Marquez, I believe that was who was aboard, did a phenomenal job with this filly, kind of getting her to settle and getting her to keep her mind on business. A couple of interesting things I also gleaned from Mr. Dickinson, aside from the hussy part, was she missed some time training prior to this debut effort. She got like a very minor injury, scraped herself up or something, and had to miss some time. So he didn't think she was entirely fit for this race. With that race under her belt, you have to think she's going to be really, really good. And again, she's probably also going to be terrible to saddle again. She is just a big, strong-minded filly, but I liked her a lot. We got an undefeated horse in here, Gold for Kit for Brendan Walsh, who's practically undefeated at the meet, 3 wins from 4 starts and a second. This one was just a nose winner last time, but I mean, has not done anything wrong at this point. It has a little bit of versatility, can stalk or go to the lead. Sure, and it looks like she beat a very good field that day as well. I think she's going to be very tough. It looks like she was a sharp claim as well for only $50,000.
Yeah. There's other speed in this race. I got to think Paquette is going to be. I mean, it looks like they want the lead completely. And Kent Sweezy has a couple in here, which they're kind of a little bit differing styles. Fun While Lasted wants to come from a little ways off, which you never want to have 2 front runners in the same barn. But I thought Paquette. I mean, this horse is 5 for 7 and just, I mean, really, and they had modest start, right? Like broke the maiden for maiden 35 and kind of just have slowly gone up the ladder. I mean, that stakes race, the Honey Rider, Colonial won that, who's come back to be very, very good. And my top pick is actually, and who would probably be my single, is Out of Sorts, the Brittany Russell horse. 2 really impressive wins at Pimlico and Delaware. Last time went up to Saratoga in a grade 3 and kind of got stuck behind really slow fractions, which is Saratoga. That's kind of become New York turf racing. It's just really hard to close in. And Cone Lima is kind of at her best now and winning that grade 3 Saratoga Oaks. So I thought just a number of reasons that this one could get back to a really good spot. I think that effort in the Christina at Delaware maybe wins this race. So that's probably where I would take my stand.
Sounds good.
Anyways, your pick for the Oaks, Jess.
6, 8, 11, and 3.
So you're tossing my single. I love it. The Virginia Derby.
But that's only because the field is so good.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the beauty of a sequence like this is, if you're going to be right, you are probably going to get paid, even if it, is somewhat formful. The New Kent County Virginia Derby presented by Woodford Reserve, $250,000, mile and an eighth. What does your program have it listed as, outer turf or inner turf?
I don't have it listed as any.
Mine says outer. And
outer. No, I do have outer. Just kidding.
Okay.
I was looking at the wrong thing.
Well, yeah, the only reason I asked that because we went a mile and an eighth over the inner last time, and in the Virginia Derby. So apparently that's a change, which kind of cool because they'll still be starting a little bit closer to the crowd and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting that is apparently different this year. And field of 12 again, another big field assembled for this one. We had the Michael Dickinson horse in the Oaks. He's got one in here. Search for Truth, I believe it is. If I can,
yes.
That was a crazy win, but that horse had kind of everything. It kind of was battling with a long shot and then just pulled away. So I thought maybe a little bit of I don't know. I wouldn't go that direction, but
I used him. I think he has just a ton of raw ability, and we'll see exactly what kind of horse he is here.
Yeah.
I'm going with a very lightly raced horse here. I just could not get by the George Strawbridge homebred. He's just a test. That's number 7 experience.
Okay, that's what I needed to say.
Yeah, he's a testament to what I think is just a thoughtful, multi-generational breeding program. And those silks, the Augustin Stables silks, are to me, the most iconic of turf racing.
Yeah.
We've talked about some of our favorite silks. They are some of my absolute favorite silks. This horse's dam was a grade 1 winner on turf. She's been a real blue hen type producer as well. She's the dam of several graded stakes winners, including Rainbow View, who was a millionaire and a grade 1 winner. And I thought he defeated a quality group in his debut, passed the class test last time out. He ran, a very good second behind Indian Lake, who he faces again, beat Wooten Asset, who he faces again. And only 2 starts. You have to think this horse will keep getting better.
He's my top pick too.
Oh boy!
Yeah, I know. So as much as we're
I cribbed your notes.
As much as we're divergent in the Oaks, I went back and watched that replay, and Indian Lake just completely walked the dog. They were going slow. Obviously it's a long race, you expect that, but Wooten Asset was closer up, and this one blew by Wooten Asset late. And I don't know. I think this horse is gonna obviously has more potential to move forward, being lightly. I just thought there were all plus signs, and Manny Franco comes in to ride. And easily my top pick.
This is a stellar field, and Experience is a horse that I hope we'll be seeing for years to come. That's the other good thing about this program, right? Is that they usually stick around for quite a few years.
I should note Brad Cox ships one in here, one of the top barns in the country, of course. Slick Back, who was a non-winner of 2 winner at Indiana over the turf last time, seemed to be a pretty big move forward on the grass. This is obviously a test, though.
Yeah, I think I liked this horse's win last time out. I don't know really how that Indiana turf form is going to translate.
Yeah.
It's a very different turf course, I think. Yeah,
the Mike Maker horse, Shady McGee, I think might get a little more attention than 15-1, and no disrespect to Merv, just because it's Maker and he's been very hot lately, and also, coming down from Saratoga. Those are obviously very, very tough races up there, and I thought this one might get a little bit of attention, but Steve Asmussen sends in Hidden Enemy, another who's not really in great form. They tried the grade 1 Belmont Derby a couple starts back, but went down to optional 80 and, kind of just ran a mid-pack type effort.
Yeah, this is I don't know if he's a stakes horse at this point.
Yeah. Steve sent a couple over here this meet. I think has a third, but really hasn't done a whole lot. I remember he won at least one in 2019. I remember when they were doing his countdown to his most wins, we figured out that he was 2 for 7 career at Colonial Downs.
Hidden Enemies one. I wonder if we'll see at Sam Houston this fall on their turf course. This winter. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Jesus. I don't.
Well, we got one more race to talk about, Jess, because after the Virginia Derby, there's still the 11th race, a non-winner of 16,000 going a mile, and another big full field of 12.
I went with number 7, Running on Entry, not on Empty, which is what I'm currently doing. This one took a few tries to break her maiden, but has been relatively consistent overall. Her first try against winners was encouraging. Ferris Allen, Horatio Caramanos, check and check for me.
Did the 2 get on your top 4 anywhere?
Right in second, Oil on Canvas.
I thought the horse just pretty consistently so far in a somewhat lightly raced career. I actually liked Independence Law getting back to a rat of ground. This horse kind of got stuck in behind, was wide, but then got stuck in behind down the lane. They kind of moved down to the inside in that Moana's Power race. And I thought the return to a longer distance might make Independence Law a really interesting one here. VK Star was one I could make a little bit of a case for. Just a tricky little race after a long day. It'll be fun to call that one because the race after the big one, like the pressure is off. I mean,
it'll be the call of your life.
Let's just go. Luke Kreibach used to tell me, if you ever want to hear the worst 2 calls of the year, listen to the 2 after the Derby. He goes, because I'm 3 beers in and I don't care. I'll be a power bar in, but I'll care still. I can't. I have like phobias about not knowing the names. I still got to memorize even the race after the big ones.
Oh yeah, I mean we care about start to. I mean, that's just fundamentally like who we are. I can't help not care.
All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoys Virginia Derby Day. Again, we will have a live preview show the morning of, and so that way we can talk about it with scratches if there are any in the big races. So you can tune into that on our signal. But otherwise, hope everybody has a great Virginia Derby Day. Virginia Breeders' Day coming up tomorrow. We will close out the season tomorrow. Best of luck.